This video contains spoilers for Alien Isolation. So if you don't want to hear any of those, then now would be the time to go and watch something else. Otherwise, sit back, dim the lights, and enjoy.
Ripley? I'm Samuels. I work for the company. It's about your mother. We think we may have found her, Amanda. A commercial vessel, the Anisadora, has recovered what we believe to be the flight recorder unit of the Nostromo.
Where?
Zeta Reticula.
What did it tell you?
We don't know. The unit was taken to Sevastopol station. It's proprietorial material, so the company wants it to be collected as soon as possible. Sevastopol's a supply depot in the region. It's a permanent free port
I know what it
facility.
is.
Can we see it?
Switch to monitors. Sevastopol Station.
What the hell happened here?
I don't like basements. No matter how old and cynical I get, there's something about a stairwell descending into darkness that always unnerves me. And I have my grandparents to thank for that. When I was a kid, they had an old house with a dank, dirt floor basement, and they told me that a troll lived in it to keep me from going down there. And I had good reason to believe them, with the creaky wooden staircase, the stench of mold, endless cobwebs, and windowless, cold blackness, cut only by a single light bulb in the center of the room. Hell, the real surprise would be if something awful didn't live down there. And it gave me a kind of soft phobia that still persists. I didn't even like the downstairs of my parents' house, and it was carpeted, furnished, and had a fireplace, but it was still downstairs, that dark place where people never really went, except when a breaker would trip, and of course I was the one who had to go down there in the cold, musty dark and fix it. Alien Isolation is a game about fixing breakers in the basement. You could call it survival horror, but much like the film that spawned it, it's more about occupational hazards. Your job is to get to that terminal, enter this code, flip these switches, unlock that door, and so on. Somehow you've got to navigate and operate a crumbling space station you've gotten yourself stuck on, and there's no one to help you and no obvious way to get out. Oh, and there is a troll after you. The centerpiece and main stage for all this doom is Sevastopol Station, the most unwelcoming place in the universe.
This waits Colonial Marshal, Sevastopol Station. Serious situation.
Hello, Marshal? Marshal, this is the Torrens. Say again?
The station is a morose, unloved floating basement. It really is a marvel of intimidating level design, and not merely because of its religious fidelity to the 1979 film. From the outside, it is a magnificent eyesore, a trinary industrial hellscape, gray within gray, with only the glow of pulsing antenna lights providing any flash of color. but on the inside, it's hell's waiting room, a confused mass of contradictions. Narrow yet cavernous, straight yet labyrinthine, not much makes sense here. And there's a corroding inefficiency and incompetence to the place that suggests the one thing more frightening than the aliens infesting it. Design by corporate committee. This isn't a place where dreams go to die, so much as suffer, and suffer a lot.
That's the way everyone travels around here.
And yet none of that even really touches on the sound of this place. Nothing haunts better than sound, and Sevastopol sounds the way the ruins of Chernobyl look. I mean, just listen to this. The movie Alien is often described as a haunted house in space. But the mournful gloom of Sevastopol would probably send most movie ghosts running for the hills. Howling air shafts, echoing train terminals, the sickly hum of busted generators, that distant, unearthly screech coming from the walls. The only comforting noise in this tomb is the occasional ping of a nearby save station. The whole station creaks and groans like it's in agony, and the arrival of the alien is just another day at the office for this iron purgatory. Sevastopol sounds like it wants to die, and when it finally careens into its neighbor and explodes into smithereens in the end of the game, it feels like a mercy killing. If you can't tell that I absolutely love this setting and think it's one of the crown jewels of video game world making, then let me state the obvious. Sevastopol Station is among the best gaming worlds I've ever pressed buttons in. From the sunny pseudo-California of Grand Theft Auto V to the flat mushroomscapes of Super Mario Bros. 3, all the way to BioShock's Rapture, a location that this game lifts more than a little inspiration from. Gaming has seen its share of intricately made worlds to set its wares in, and Sevastopol, moody depression and all, is exclusively top shelf. And this is something that I think got a little lost when the game released way back in 2014. Gaming environments usually get relegated to the graphics portion of most opinion pieces, with adjectives like lush or polished routinely trotted out, with the bulk of the piece normally focusing on mechanics and frame rates and sequence of events and the like. And while poor mechanics and low frame rates can destroy an otherwise decent game, I honestly think that a game could play like Mario Odyssey and run as smooth as Call of Duty on a $4,000 rig, but if the environment sucks, I'm out. For me, the worlds are what bring home the bacon. It's the immersion, stupid, and you don't even need highfalutin graphics to get it. I was completely subsumed by Metroid at the tender age of 7. And while Metroid is an excellent game and a stone-cold classic, I wouldn't put it on par with God of War for visual sophistication. But I digress. Well-crafted environments are essential for any game, but what would a horror game be without one? Well, it'd be Resident Evil 6, but that's beside the point. Horror is a type of storytelling fundamentally dependent upon location. It wouldn't make sense to set Friday the 13th in the middle of a football game. Characters and the audience need that sense of helpless solitude, of powerlessness, of, dare I say it, isolation, for the fear to set in effectively. In gaming, you need limited knowledge of the threat you're up against, and limited means of dealing with it. Good horror games make the environment a key part of those limitations. Having such a stellar setting is an important win for Alien Isolation, because the game itself is not always up to that standard. Its main character, Amanda, the daughter of Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley, never materializes into 3 dimensions, and the side characters are so stock you could put them on layaway. The voice acting is spotty, the tasks overly contrived, and the dialogue sometimes cringier than a Kanye West acceptance speech.
Outright disaster has already happened, Waits. All we can do now is kill that fucker.
But through all these missteps, none of which completely sink the game, there is Sevastopol. The one character that actually gets developed, that is fully fleshed out, that gets a beginning, middle, and end, is the station itself. And then there are the things housed on the station. Let's start with the androids.
Goddamn androids.
Ripley?
The humanoid extensions of Sevastopol-made flesh. Or rubber, or whatever the hell these godforsaken things are made of. The working Joes are in many ways the real horrors of alien isolation. A Frankensteinian hack job attempt at making a living thing assembled out of toxic incompetence and greed. Not content to stick to their menial tasks, they wander around the station throughout the game and hound you relentlessly about being somewhere you're not supposed to be, like hall monitors from the ninth circle of hell. Sure, they can be killed. If you don't mind expending every resource in all creation and making enough noise to summon hordes of xenomorphs upon your head, sure, yeah, go right ahead and do it.
Will do.
The humans of Sevastopol are generally negligible. Well, until they become hostile and suddenly everyone turns into Dirty Harry.
Stay back! Shit!
And then, of course, there is the big star itself. As great as Sevastopol is, the basement wouldn't have worked at all if they had biffed the troll. They didn't. Beautifully animated and reverently faithful, this is H.R. Giger's terrifying vision that, well, like Sevastopol, is also a riddle of unsettling contradictions. Both male and female, canine and feline, reptile and insect, hunter and parasite. The alien never plants its feet in any one identifiable category. And nor should it. What makes the basement more than just a cold, dark room filled with boxes and dust is, of course, the unknown, the unexpected. Sevastopol is a workplace environment, but nothing quite works. Doors won't lock, CRT monitors roll with interference, elevators fail, gas lines explode, and lights flicker off and on like a strobe warning you to stay away. It is the perfect environment for the perfect organism. Over the past few years, I have been repeatedly asked why. Why do I keep coming back to this game over and over again? And the answer that I usually give is something like, well, I love the first movie, and this is the only game that gets it right. And while that's certainly true, I don't think it's the whole picture. If I'm being honest, I keep coming back because of Sevastopol. To this very day, I still do not like going to the basement of my own house to do laundry. The downstairs is always, and will forever for me, be that other place where people only go when they must. And that's a strange fear to have when you're nearly middle-aged and have your own place. But that's the thing about fear. It has its own logic. And that's the logic of alien isolation. It sends me down to the basement, with a laundry list to do and a breaker to fix. It lets me explore all those old, deep fears of the troll waiting for me in the dusty dark. Some people go to therapy. I guess I play video games. So if you need me, I'll be fixing breakers in the dark. Come and join me, huh? Just mind the troll. This is Chuck. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay scared.
Welcome to Sevastopol.